Sporting CP, a club with a rich history and a famous youth academy that has produced legends like Cristiano Ronaldo and Luis Figo, is ready for a brand new era. In this FM24 rebuild, we'll be using Sporting's incredible youth academy only to build a squad that can dominate not only Portugal, but also win the Champions League. No transfers, no shortcuts. Starting from day one, it is all about developing homegrown talent as we release every single player that is not homegrown at Sporting. Which, when you look at the starting 11, is 90% of players. Star striker Victor Gyökeres, yep, he's gone. Marcus Edwards, yep, he's gone. Pedro Goncalves, he's gone. Nuno Santos, he's gone. Hjulmand, he's gone. Morita, he's gone. Mateus Reis, he's gone. And Kovacevic, he is gone. Now, I am going to be keeping hold of Usman Diomande. As you can see here, he will be homegrown at club in the next 12 months. And for Ivan Fresneda, I'll be doing the same as well. He is homegrown here in 2 years. But every single player you see here has got to go. And if they're trained in nation, they've also got to go. I want a homegrown at club only. Which leaves us in this very interesting scenario where we have an extremely strong centre-back partnership of Diomande and Gonzalo Inacio, and the rest is just Wonderkids. We have a superb player up front in Rodrigo Ribeiro with decent pace, good finishing, good composure. Hopefully he can make it into a superstar. Afonso Moreira on the left wing again looks brilliant. We have a bit of an experienced right winger in Jovan Cabral. He won't be here for too long because we do want to get youngsters into the team ASAP. Our starting cam is Mateus Fernandes. We have Bragança in central defence midfield with Tangolo, who will be homegrown at club very, very shortly. We have Sugio at right back, and obviously he is a bit of an elder statesman, but he can play right back and left back. We do have Ivan Fresneda, who will be coming into this right back position ASAP. Left back, Leonardo Barroso. Centre backs, we are sorted. If we can keep hold of these for as long as possible, will be fantastic. And in goal, Diego Calais as well is a fairly decent goalkeeper. The exciting thing is the amount of potential that is at this club. With all of these Wonderkids coming through, if we sort this by 5-star potential, we've got a good few. Fresneda Diomande and Guilherme Santos, who is a 19-year-old central attack midfielder who hopefully we can see become an absolute superstars. There's a lot of 4-star Wonderkids here as well, but obviously the main thing we are looking out for is the fact that there's 4.5-star youth recruitment, unbelievable youth facilities, great training facilities, and a very decent reputation as well. And we are looking for the next Ronaldo, the next Figo, and hopefully we can bring in an absolute superstar. Obviously, last season, Sporting ended up winning the Portuguese Premier League. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but here on FM, that's exactly what has happened. They got knocked out of the Europa League, so we're going to be in the Champions League to kick things off with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds. This is going to go absolutely fantastic. And to prove as well that we're not going to be using any of them previous players, I have sold everyone that there is to sell, or loaned them out, and they'll be sold very, very soon. Marcus Edwards gone to PSG, Gyökeres to Liverpool, 19 million, absolute bargain. We've raised another 68 here with Cohen Sao, Morita, Hjulmand, Nuno Santos, Pedro Goncalves. Pretty much everyone is gone that I was looking to sell. There's a few more that we are going through and trying to sell, and I'll be continuously doing that until they're not here at the club, which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is. And it means in the Portuguese Premier League, with the youngsters we've got, we're predicted down in 4th place, quite a way off Benfica, Porto and Braga, but the goal for this season is simply to not get sacked. We are looking to develop these youngsters as well as we can, not get sacked, and hope for a Ronaldo regen in season 1. I'm going to tell you what, we certainly did hold our own against some of the biggest clubs in the league. This one against Porto, and we're going to walk away from home with a 2-0 victory. A screamer there from Ivan Fresneda, and maybe a little bit more to come from this man up front. Ribeiro making it 2-0. A fantastic victory which got us into the quarterfinals of the Portuguese Cup, which of course we won. We then won the semi-finals against Hermelixiao, and now we're in the final against Mortimau, and Silva has scored a screamer into the top corner. 14 minutes in, an absolutely dominating 1-0 victory, and we win the Portuguese Cup final. Absolute dream. And I've got to say, we might have an absolute superstar on our hands. Gabriel Silva was not a 5-star Wonderkid at the start of this video. Now, however, he looks absolutely cracked. 13 finishing, 13 composure, great speed and acceleration, 13 goals in 48 games. As a 17/18-year-old, that is a massive win to have him come through. And well, believe it or not, that's not the only competition we won. We also beat Benfica on penalties in the Portuguese Super Cup. Unbelievable scenes. Goals from Manuel Kisanga, Luis Gomez, Daniel Bragança got us there. 4-4 on aggregate. Well, not on aggregate. In the game, we win on penalties. Up the Sporting. I did not think we were winning competitions for at least 3 seasons. Let me know down below how long you think it's going to take for us to actually win the Champions League. We have done this twice, once with Manchester United, once with Ajax. They both took 10+ seasons. How long is it going to take though with Sporting? We've got a very similar sort of path compared to Ajax. A few big teams in the league. We're going to be looking to try and take over the next 4 or 5 years, and then from there push for the Champions League. The good thing is about Sporting, we have an unbelievable youth system, to the point where I genuinely believe we might have the best player in the world on our hands coming through our academy already. We have literally got a Ronaldo regen in season number 1. He is 16 years of age. His name is Martin Trinhaletias is what I'm going to go with. Apologies, Portuguese people, if that pronunciation is absolutely awful. But this guy is quite literally a 6-foot left winger with great speed and finishing. He's 16 years of age. He's also got 16 flair. We quite literally have got Ronaldo come through our academy at 16 years of age. I'm absolutely buzzing. He is coming straight into the first team. He's going to be an absolute superstar next season, and I'm hoping he can be the difference between second and first place. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got 78 points with a youth academy team only here at Sporting. 1 point away from Benfica, 11 points with Porto, 3 clear of Braga. The top 4 were miles ahead of anyone else, and I'm so surprised how fantastic we were. We actually bottled it in the final day of the season. That is incredibly annoying. But we were actually absolutely fantastic. We come second in the league. Benfica end up winning it by just 1 point. If we look at the stats, we were third on most goals scored on 78. But defensively is where I thought it would be good with Diego Calais in goal, Ignacio and Diamande at centre-back. And exactly that is where we were very good. 30 goals conceded throughout a whole season. Unbelievable scenes. Possession-wise, 51%. We're not looking to really keep too much possession. We're looking at developing this team. We ended up with Fraser starting every single game at right back. He is now absolutely fantastic. His stats have grown so much in just 1 season of playing first team football. I'm buzzing to see what we can get out of him. Obviously, he'll be homegrown at club in just 12 months. We have got Dario Esugio, who again, through the academy, we know who this guy is. Everyone's used him on FM. 50 games this season, a 6.87. He is simply fantastic and will hopefully be a mainstay in our DM for a long time. And Gabriel Silva as well, who we have touched on. I locked into the up front position. But the youth intake we've had is absolutely mental. There is like a bunch of 5-star players in here. We've got Michael Feldhus, Danny Gomez, Martin Trincaletas, João Simões, Guilherme Santos are all still here as well. João Gomez, we've got players here who we didn't touch on last time with Afonso Lee, Rodrigo Cabrito, Gabriel Melo, João Muniz, Diego Pinto. There is so many youngsters here at Sporting. I think it's not going to take long until we actually take over, because 1 point away already is mental. And as you can see, going into season 2, we are having Martin Trincaletas start on the left wing instantly. I want him to progress ASAP. I just don't want Manchester United to come and play a friendly and steal him like they do to Cristiano Ronaldo. I'd like him to stay with us forever, please. So Martin, be good, but stay at Sporting. This is the team we're going into season 2 with. We are now predicting the Portuguese Premier League to come in 4th place still at 18-1. I'm aware I didn't touch on the Champions League last season. It was incredibly embarrassing. We got knocked out in the league phase. Yeah, it turns out the youngsters weren't great on the big stage, but we move on from that one. We've got the Portuguese Cup, the Portuguese Super Cup again, the Portuguese Premier League, and the Champions League. Can this team of merry Wonderkids take it to the next level? And can Big Martin show what he can do in just season 1? Well, Martin absolutely exploded onto the scene with outrageous speed and flair. Quite simply, no one was able to stop our brand new superstar left winger. He was outrageously good in just season number 1, which is more than I ever expected, to get quite literally a Ronaldo regen, even scoring a header at the back post. Martin Trincaletas finished the season 19 goals, 9 assists in 58 games, and he's now just turned 17 years of age. What on earth have we stumbled across here? He's even got knocks ball past opponent. We just need him to try tricks, which he will do with his 16 flair. We need him to get faster, which again, I'm sure he will do while being 6 foot tall. I am absolutely in love with the fact that we have quite literally got a Cristiano Ronaldo regen in season number 1. And to prove there's absolutely no editor involved as well, this is completely legit. We have got ourselves Cristiano Ronaldo regen season number 1 with Sporting Lisbon. And of course, he helped carry us to another trophy as well. This one was the Super Cup against Benfica. So right early on in his career, he had a massive part to play. We go 1-up thanks to Ribeiro, but there he is in 61 minutes with a sidewinding volley to make it 2-0. Benfica did then score to make the game 2-1, a backstick header from Matias Arezzo, but 3-1 to the mighty Sporting in the end. He gets involved yet again, gets the assist into Dembo in the middle. 3-1 against Benfica using the Wonderkids. I cannot believe we've actually managed to do this. So this might be my most fun rebuild in such a long time. Martin Trinkeletias carries us to a Super Cup victory. Sadly, however, he couldn't carry us to a Portuguese Premier League. Porto had the most ridiculous season possible. 97 points, just 1 draw and 1 loss, and 32 wins out of 34 games. It turns out they were quite good this season. Did we get anything against them? No, we didn't. We got battered both times, clearly. 77 points for us, 38 goal difference, though. We just have come unstuck against a team that have just had the most ridiculous of seasons, quite simply possible. Did I just say... They've got Jurgen Klopp in charge. What? I'm not surprised then, am I? They've got an unbelievable manager, and let's face it, a pretty unbelievable team as well. But we're going to have the better team in a few years' time. I'm absolutely sure of it. The way these players are progressing, we're going to absolutely dominate. But sadly, we are going to have to do that all without Gonçalo Inácio, as in January, his release clause was triggered, and off he goes to Spurs. Now, he's quite a big part of our defence. We don't really get too many Wonderkids centre-backs come through on FM, so we're really hoping the Football Manager to give us someone to come through eventually. But for now, Inácio is gone, and what it looks like, Diamande's got a hold down the fort on his own. If we do check out the other options, we've got Quaresma, actually, who's actually very, very good. We're absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Inácio, mate, I'll take your 51 million. This guy, Eduardo Quaresma, is our brand new centre-back with Diamande. Absolutely buzzing. But again, a very good youth intake. You won't be surprised to hear, if we check out the under-19s, a bunch of 5 stars, a bunch of 4.5 stars. I will touch on players when they make it into the first team, rather than touch on every single one of them, because we would be here forever. And I will just go through it when they become absolute superstars, like Martin Trinkeletias. Let's see what we have got for Season 3. Well, this is our starting team. Diego Calai in goal, Fresneda, Quaresma, Diamande, Travassos as the back four, with Asugio and Bragança in central defence midfielder. Afonso Moreira is growing very nicely as well in that right wing position. He is not great at finishing, but setting up the chances, he is fantastic. Fernandez as well, also doing brilliant. We have got our superstar on the left wing, Big Martin, and of course up front, Gabriel Silva. In terms of the bench, we have got a few now coming through, like Ludwig Prost is our backup goalkeeper. Danny Gomez is a fantastic centre-back. We need to make sure we develop him into that as well, because centre-backs do not develop easily. We need to nurture him and make him a superstar. We have also got Miguel Carvo on the bench. Maybe we've got Figo as well. We've got ourselves Ronaldo on the left. Maybe we can develop Miguel Carvo into being our Figo regen on the right wing. That would be absolutely mental to have both Ronaldo and Figo on the wings in a Sporting rebuild in just the first couple of seasons. No idea how this has happened. Let's see if they can carry us to a league title. Sadly not. Maybe season 1 was a bit of a fluke and we got a little bit carried away, because now we have dropped right off the ball compared to Porto and Benfica. We are 13 points away from second place Benfica and 16 away from Porto. What I will say, our points tally hasn't changed too much. It's come down 5 points. What's just happened is Porto and Benfica have gone into the FM universe, signed a bunch of amazing players like Matias Arezzo, scoring 26 goals and making it near and impossible to take the Portuguese Premier League. We are managing to still win trophies as we manage to lift another Portuguese Cup, and thanks to the man Ribeiro in the middle, who is going to grab a brace. He is developing very well as Gabriel Silva, and is actually a very good rotational option for us. He was there again for 2-0 in the 65th minute. Portimao did grab a goal back, but it wasn't enough to scare us too much after Felipe Cruz found Jovic in the middle. I'm very proud of how things are going though. This is the end of, I believe, season 3. We've won quite a few trophies, 3 or 4 trophies. We need to get our hands on the Portuguese the Portuguese Premier League. That is where we need to get to. We also need to give ourselves a better showing in the Champions League as well, as again, we have not even got in to the league phase this time. We got knocked out in the playoff rounds before the league phase by RSC and Elect, which means we drop into the Europa League. We're in the league phase. We were actually quite successful, having 4 victories against Dynamo Kiev, Rakow, Farul Rostina and OGC Nice. We then drew just Sassuolo and Rapid, but lost to Newcastle and Manchester United. And while we did beat Dynamo Kiev 3-1 in the knockout playoff round, we came unstuck and got battered by a Newcastle side who beat us 10-3 on aggregate, which yes does mean the first leg at home we lost 6-0. I don't quite know how something like that happens, but we move. It's 10-3. We're into the round of 16 in the Europa League. We are making progress. It's just not quite as fast as I would like it to be. That's the end of season 3. Let's see what people have got for season 4. Well, I can tell you someone we haven't got. It's Usmana Diamande. We have lost our 2 superstar centre-backs, both to release clauses, which is a little bit sad, but yeah, it just makes the rebuild harder, which I suppose is what you guys want. You want to see me suffer. You want to see me grind out the victory. You don't want this to be easy. You want me to have to really put the work in to make this sporting team a super team. I mean, not that there's much I can do, because I am pretty much at will to the FM gods as they give me Wonderkids through the academy. You can still see there's only one in the starting lineup. That is Martin Trinkeletias, who is now officially joined as our best player with Ivan Fresneda. He is growing a stupid amount. Don't worry, we'll go through progress of all the players at the end of the video. Once we've won everything, the players that are still here at the club, we'll go through their progress and check on how they grew from just a wee baby to being an absolute superstar. On the bench, Carvo is developing very, very well. He is someone to certainly keep an eye on. Last season, he played just 4 games. He played 9 off the bench in other competitions as well, and got a 6.82. This season, I think he'll have a bit of a breakout year. Striker-wise, I am debating moving Martin Trinkeletias up there to get Carvo in, purely because Gabriel Silva isn't quite developing as much as I would like him to. He's a very well-rounded striker at this point, but he's not exactly a bagsman. Last season, just 5 goals in 27 games. It's not exactly what I'm looking for, to be honest. I want a little bit more than that out of my striker. And yeah, I think it's safe to say we are getting there. It's just taken quite a while to do it. And as you guys know from these youth-only rebuilds, these youth-to-gold styles, they do take a while to progress the Wonderkids, but we'll get there and we'll lift it all, and it'll be the greatest experience of all time. Oh, this game right here made me think maybe it is just our time. We did go 1-0 down to Benfica thanks to a free kick rebound off the post, but overall, we absolutely battered one of the best teams in the league. You saw a goal there from Silva in the middle, who was still playing a lot of games up front. A ridiculous run from Trinkeletias after a fantastic ball from Mateus Fernandes to make the game 2-1. You just saw the pace we had there from Martin is outrageous. Mateus then finds Silva in the box after a defensive mistake, and we beat Benfica 3-1. And I was starting to think we were going to absolutely dominate the Portuguese league. Well, you won't be surprised to know that Porto have won it again on 87 points. They're just a bit too good. I believe it. Evan Nielsen is still here as well. 25 goals, Arezzo 26. That is the difference right now in the 3 teams. We are actually progressing very well as a squad. Afonso Moreira is becoming player of the match candidate and most assist player. But the one thing we're missing is someone to consistently put the ball in the back of the net. Hence why we are finishing in 3rd place. Don't get me wrong, Martin Trinkeletias is a 19-year-old who's just scored 24 goals in 41 games. And while Gabriel Silva's 19 goals looks good, it's nowhere near the rest of the big boys in the league. Afonso Moreira, 12 goals and 21 assists is great. And Daniel Bragança, as that more progressive central defence midfielder, is doing well with 12 goals and 10 assists. But a striker who's scoring 25 plus goals is the issue right now. And getting someone through the academy to replace it is quite difficult. we've had quite literally no out-and-out strikers come through. We've had a few cams or right wings, but their potential isn't quite there. Gabriel Silvers is still 5-star. Maybe he'll just be a late bloomer, or do we take the hit and move Martin to striker so we can get Caval into the wing positions? Because this season, 13 starts, 19 off the bench, a 6.92 is certainly very good. You can see he's progressing outrageously quick as well. But I just think he's more of a right winger that can cut inside on the left foot than a left winger being a traditional winger. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do just yet. These are the dilemmas and the minute details which make this save either actually going to happen when we win the Champions League, or we absolutely fumble the bag. Martin gets angry, a little bit like he is now, because he's wanted by Barcelona. He wants to move to a better squad because we're not quite progressing to that next level. We have got 4 years left in this contract. We are going to hold him hostage for as long as possible, but he might get unhappy and stop playing well, and maybe moving him to striker and becoming our out-and-out number 9 would help that. And these are all the little decisions I have to take into account. But for now, Martin is staying as our left winger. And that's because he's just absolutely magical out there. Another Portuguese Cup final. You can see him cutting in the middle and just getting into the right areas, as him and Mora have got a special link up down the left-hand side. He scores a screamer there, and he's had a big part to play in this one as well. Eventually, it goes over to our right back, Diego Trevisos, who puts it into the top corner for 2-0. And a great ball from Granza, just about cut out. Finds Afonso Moreira on the right-hand side. He cuts it in, and Silva is there for a third. We did win the game 3-0. It was 3-2 in the end. But again, Benfica beaten, showing that on the day, we can beat some of the big boys. Our playing in big matches is extremely good. It's just the consistency, which is, to be honest, what you expect from a team built of youth academy players only. Just getting that consistency, and there's not really many leaders in the squad. Not only people that are going to take the armband and dominate it. It's just all about being a big old team and getting that consistency, which is hard to come by for sure. We are going to get there eventually, though. We are missing our right back. I believe Frisnade has just left us. Oh, that's not good, is it? He's also gone 40 million to Liverpool. So we've lost our 3 superstars in Frisnade, Diamande and Gonzalo Inacio. So if you thought at the start of the video it was unfair that I kept Frisnade and Diamande because they weren't homegrown at club at that moment, they got to being homegrown at club and then left. So that's great, isn't it? They're both gone, which is fantastic. So we quite literally just have now a bunch of players that are homegrown at club. As you can see from the transfer screen, I'm not doing any transfers to bring them in to make people homegrown at club on our end, because I just think that'll make it ridiculously easy. I'm doing this full from our own youth academy. I'm not signing anyone else. So it really is just a game of luck. So let's see who we get next up. Well, it's safe to say there's not too many changes to the first team squad itself. We have brought João Simões and trained him as a defensive midfielder rather than a cam, because he has got great potential, and I'm going to try and get him involved in that central defensive midfield role next to Asugio. Obviously, we have also got Bragança there as well. But as you can see from sort of the squad aspect here, we are getting a lot of regens now coming to the actual first team and being our bench players. Danny Gomez is progressing nicely as our backup centre-back. Marco Tietzera is a young left-back that we are hoping to progress into an absolute superstar as well. We have Isaac Bofilia as a central defensive midfielder, more of a playmaker vibe, not really great at the defensive aspect, with just 8 marking and decent tackling, to be fair to him. But in terms of his playmaker ability, it's fantastic. Miguel Carvo is obviously a superstar, valued at 37 million. Michael Fieldhouse, I believe, came through in the first season. He is a very decent cam, but can't finish to save his license, about as much pace as me, so he's not going to get very far in football, I don't believe. Rafael Pereira is a decent backup right winger / striker, certainly someone to be considered, but again, isn't the quickest of players. And finally, Eitan Celinho, again a striker, good determination, finishing, composure and pace, which is why he's in the first team, because that determination hopefully can help him grow a hell of a lot. Martin is still here, and I believe he's got a brand new contract until 2032 as well. He's now on £94,000 a week. I am quite literally chucking everything at him to make him stay. He is now up to 18 pace, 17 flair and 16 finishing. I am just interested to see this. I know I said I wouldn't do this at the end of the video, but I'm interested to see how he's grown throughout his career. Pretty mentally, it's safe to say his mentals have come a long way. +6 in composure is massive. +4 anticipation, +6 decision making. Great in the mental stats. Physicals have come on leaps and bounds as well. In terms of his technicals, +3 in finishing. Now he's got 16. I'm telling you right now, is quite literally a Cristiano Ronaldo region and is just birthed into the squad. He's now got 5 caps for Portugal as well and a goal. If it wasn't for me being stubborn and not letting him leave, he'd be at Newcastle, Atletico Madrid. We've seen people like Barcelona interested. He would go on and take over the world. But he's mine, and he's going absolutely nowhere. And hopefully he can help us lift the title in Season 5. Well, if this is anything to go by, I don't think it's happening, because we've got knocked out by Rakow in the knockout playoff round, and Benfica have just lifted the Europa League. It's a hard life being a sporting fan. We do lift the Portuguese League Cup, which I think is like the Carling Cup equivalent or the Carabao Cup equivalent in England. It's the first time we've won it, this rebuild, which is fantastic. It's not really something I'm too interested in, to be honest. And the same goes here for the Portuguese Super Cup as well. But we did beat Porto 2-0 in this one. And as we look through some of our league performances, maybe we're the best team here, as we beat Porto 3-0 thanks to goals from a new right back, João Mariano, Daniel Bragança and Afonso Moreira. And we were absolutely smashing teams like Moreirense 6-0. And in Europe, in the league phase of the Europa League, we also battered Bologna 5-0. Maybe we're actually onto something here, because Afonso Moreira has had a breakout year. 18 goals this season. I was not expecting him to be our player that's scoring all the goals, but you saw a hat-trick from him in the last game. You score a brace there in Europe. Afonso Moreira has had an unbelievable year. 7.28, 18 goals, 7 assists. Is it enough to make us champions? Yes, it is. And it's the first time we've had someone on the top goal scorers charts. And it's Afonso Moreira. And it's the man who leads us to a title here in Portugal. An incredibly tight league again. Just like season number 1, we get 79 points, which is one more than we got. But Benfica won it on 79 in season 1. We win it here in season 5 on 79 points. And finally bring the Portuguese Premier League back to Sporting. João Mariano with the 3rd best average rating in the league, joint with Afonso Moreira, is a brand new right back that's come through, and he's absolutely fantastic. 22 starts, 7 at the bench, 3 goals, 7 assists, but it's his crossing ability and his speed, which you very rarely get on a wing-back coming through the academy. You never see a wing-back who's quick and can cross a ball, and hallelujah, it's actually happened. And he's very determined as well, with 15 determination. So we've stumbled across an absolute gem in Joan. And of course, it's worth mentioning Martin Trinkelatias, who actually didn't have the greatest of seasons. 14 goals, 7 assists in 41 games. I think him, looking to move to a bigger club is hampering him massively. He is wanted by Liverpool, Spurs, Bayern, AC Milan, Atletico, Barcelona, and Real Sociedad. What are you doing there, bro? But he's wanted by a whole bunch of massive clubs, and I think it's slightly hampering his actual form for us, because his mind is elsewhere. But luckily we've been bailed out this season by Afonso Moreira, and we have ended up winning the league. And the great thing for us as well is that Miguel Carvo, in his 19 starts and 17 games on the bench, got 8 goals and 10 assists, and again is progressing so well. He's 6'2". He's got great speed, acceleration and agility, good dribbling, good finishing, great flair, great determination. It really is like we've got Ronaldo on the left and Figo on the right. We've got a 6-foot left winger who can finish, and a tricky, quite tall, flary winger on the right hand side like Luis Figo of Miguel Carvo. There is obviously something in the sporting water that brings through unbelievable Wonderkid wingers, and it's helped us an absolute bunch this season as we lift the Portuguese Premier League, the Portuguese League Cup and the Portuguese Super Cup. Can that be classed as some sort of treble? I suppose so. Next season, of course, we are going to be in the Champions League, as we have won the league, which is absolutely fantastic. Based on how things are going in the Europa League, we're not going to get very far in it, but at least we're going to be there and give ourselves a chance and chuck our names in the hat. And for this season, I am making the leap and making Martin our starting striker. He's getting a bit angry. He wants to go to a bigger squad. Well, Martin, you're going up top for us, and you're going to become our star man as our number 10. I hope it's enough to keep him happy. I hope it's enough to keep him here. On the left wing, Miguel Carvo is coming in as well and being locked in to that position. And due to his fantastic potential, we are locking Marco Tetzera in that left wing spot as well. So hopefully he can grow an absolute bunch. I am excited for this season. We have got a trophy to defend. In terms of the preview, we are back down in 3rd place behind Benfica and Porto. We will always be there. We are using youth only, but passion is what gets you to the very top. We're of course in the Champions League, the Portuguese Cup, Portuguese League Cup and the Portuguese Super Cup. And with these 3 locked into the team, I think development and winning trophies is more to come. And more development was certainly to come, because Miguel Carvo has grabbed 20 goals and 9 assists in 39 games. As a 19-year-old winger, he now has 19 accelerations, 16 flair, and unbelievable technical stats. And he's had an absolute super year. Thank God we've got ourselves another demon, another Wonderkid. Well, Martin Trinkelatias has actually fallen away from the Wonderkid because he's now an elite attacking midfielder. We've had to move him back to the wing positions because it wasn't great up front. 18 goals and 12 assists, 9 goals in 33 games in the Portuguese league. He's not quite ready for that Ronaldo move up to being a striker just yet, but with 17 finishing, 15 composure, and 19 pace, I think he'll get there one day because he's got all the stats required to be an absolute superstar. I am buzzing with the 2 wingers we've got there. And with the reason as well we moved him back out wide because Gabriel Silva found his shooting boots, 22 goals in 48 games. He has also got 16 finishing, 15 composure, and decent physicals as well. And as a player that is in real life an actual Sporting Academy player as well, it's quite cool to bring him into the team. Now worth 35 million. He is our starting striker. And when we actually look at the starting 11, it wants to put Trinkelatias up front to get Moreira on the left and Carvo on the right, but it's very difficult to get everyone involved. So Moreira this season, after last year's absolutely ridiculous year, scores 9 goals and gets 6 assists in 22 starts and 31 off the bench. Quite the fall off, but it's because we've had to lock in Martin and Carvo to get them both into the team and get the team progressing as well as possible. But maybe me getting involved was actually not the best idea, because we come 3rd in the league on 71 points, and while Miguel Carvo, yes, scored 17 goals and was the 2nd best in the league, we dropped off as a whole. We didn't win the Portuguese Cup, we didn't win the Portuguese League Cup, we didn't win the Portuguese Super Cup, and in the Champions League we got knocked out in the knockout playoff round by Celtic. I mean, it's not great, is it? Maybe I should just stay away and let the team do its thing, because me getting involved isn't helping. One thing I will say, defensively, it's tough out here. Texera is a 2-star, Motta is a 2-star, Quaresma is a 2.5, and Travasos is a 2.5. But Agansa is still just a 2-star DM. While the rest is great and going forward are very attractive, defensively, it's a little bit of a minefield. It doesn't really show it in the data hub because we're one of the best teams in the league, but you can sort of see the gap there of 0.92 better than average there compared to the average here of 0.64. Quite a big difference. If we were to look at the competition screen and check out our stats and our goals conceded, remember how, we absolutely dominated this at the start with Diamande and Ignacio and Fresneda and unbelievable players in defence. We're now in 2nd place, and in goals scored, we're still in 3rd, so that's not really changed too much. We just need to now, keep carrying on. I think we've got ourselves a front 4 of dreams here. I don't know what we do in terms of Carval, Moreira, Trinkelatias, and Gabriel Silva. Potentially this is it. Potentially this is the team going forward. In terms of people coming through, it's not quite as many. It has certainly slowed down. We have got an Irish midfielder in Jody Grant coming through. It's a bit like Ryan Gould when he come over, or Eric Dyer, to be fair. Them two coming through. We've got Jody Grant, we've got Osorio Adao as well, and Boubacar Balde. Of course, remember the 5-star requirement at this point. Now we've got someone like Martin Trinkelatias is so much higher than it was at the start. So these guys are actually like so much better than the 5-star Wonderkids we were getting at the start. It's ridiculous. Afonso Pereira as well as a centre-back / DM looks fantastic and could turn into a superstar. Possibly in this rebuild, possibly for you guys when you pick it up over on Patreon. The link to the Patreon is down below. We are running 3 copies of Football Manager as a giveaway as well to paid members. That's £2 tier, £5 tier. If you want to get more sort of entries into the giveaway and you want to help support me more, there is a £10 and £15 tier where you get access to every single rebuild file, every single tactic, and of course as well you get to message me, and if you want me to do a specific rebuild for you, whether it's in a video or out of a video, drop me a message and we'll see what we can do. That is all on the Patreon down below. A massive thank you to the legends that have come up on screen. You guys literally help make me continue this career journey of potentially one day becoming a full-time content creator. So if you do want to support and potentially win yourself copies of Foot Manager as well, Patreon is the place to be. But Season 7 is up next, and hopefully we can get back our Portuguese Premier League title. We'll start off with the Portuguese League Cup, where we did grab back our title. We had a year getting knocked out in the group stages of it, but now we win it on penalties against Benfica. And Martin Trinkelatias scored for us as well in a 1-0 victory to do the double in the Portuguese Cups. And well, guess what? it's a Portuguese treble as we get 83 points in the league and absolutely smash the competition. We have the #1 top goal scorer in Gabriel Silva, and the average ratings is dominated by Sporting. A 7.51 for Martin Trincaleitas, a 7.41 for Daniel Bragança, a 7.38 for Afonso Moreira, and a 7.31 for Miguel Carvo. With Gabriel Silva getting top goal scorers means we have finally managed to find a way of rotating our 4 absolute superstars. Player of the matches, Trincaleitas and Carvo. Clean sheet, 17 for Diego Calai. And in terms of assists, it's not like Mateus Fernandes isn't getting involved either. He grabs 12, Bragança gets 10, and Martin Trincaleitas gets 8. We have had a super season. Mateus Fernandes, 15 goals and 13 assists and 49 games. We haven't really shown too much of him because he's just been Mr. Consistent in that central attacking midfielder role. He's played very well every single year, pretty much getting above over a 7 average rating. Other than the 1 year, I imagine here's for the year we got 3rd place. But other than that, he's been fantastic on plus 7.1s every single season. You know, nearly getting 7.3s, which is ridiculous. And it's safe to say he's not the only one as well, because Daniel Bragança has been absolutely fantastic this season. 7.41, same as last season, and since the very start he's at 7.28, 7.19, 17, 14. He's been ridiculous, but the last 2 years he has really stepped up in goals and in assists. And again, another player that has come through the Portuguese Sporting Academy. He is now 32 years of age, but what a legend. And then of course now we have to mention Miguel Carvo, who has had a ridiculous season. 15 goals, 9 assists, 16 flair, great speed, a breakout year of 15 goals and 9. And well, for Martin as well, this year, back to being a superstar, no longer wants to leave the club, which is fantastic, even though he's wanted by Liverpool, Manchester United and Barcelona. He grabbed 20 goals and 16 assists in 46 games, an absolute superstar. And the final man I want to touch on is Gabriel Silva, the real difference maker this season, grabbing 27 goals and 9 assists, 16 finishing, 16 composure, great speed. Absolutely buzzing that he finally became, you know, a real superstar striker for us. It was something we were really looking for, and eventually Gabriel Silva made it possible. One thing we haven't touched on just yet is our Champions League journey this season, as we come 11th place in the Champions League phase, including massive victories over Inter Milan, a 5-1 over AC Milan, a 7-2 over Cervena Svezia, and a 2-0 against Brest. We did draw against Bayer Leverkusen and Real San Sebastian and lost to Manchester City and Lazio. We were going in to the knockout playoff rounds. Well, believe it or not, we're facing up against Porto of all teams. Absolutely mental that that's happened. The first leg was 1-1 at the Porto Stadium. We go 1-0 up there thanks to Martin Trincaleitas, but Porto are going to get back into it. A fantastic finish there from João Neves. That might be the João Neves. If so, bit snaky to go from Benfica to Porto, but Nicholas Jackson then goes through and scores a goal, which is mental. And we're currently a goal down, but at the 86th minute, Monial fans Daniel Bragança to find Trincaleitas on that left-hand side, and he's just absolutely magical. I absolutely love him. He's fantastic. He makes it 2-2, and in the 98th minute in added time, Afonso Moreira finds Adao in the middle to find Raval Carbo, our 2 absolute superstar wingers that have come through, putting the team on their back, and we go through to the round of 16. We faced up against Tottenham Hotspur, and I was very nervous about this game. And then I realised we had Big Martin. So in the first leg, he scored early on to make it 1-0. And the second leg, after a defensive mistake, Mora finds Asuzio on the edge. And we take things back to London to go and see Spurs at their stadium with a 2-0 victory. We're, of course, in an absolutely stunning stadium. All of our youngsters get a little bit nervous. And in 41 minutes, we go to goal down. And in 75, we're going to go 2 goals down after Angel Gomez finds a fantastic finish into the top corner. It takes us into extra time, but in the 119th minute, after an unbelievable backheel pass, it drops to Kante to find Camacho. I don't even know who this guy is, but he's just scored to make it 2-1 in the 119th minute. A 2-1 loss, bear in mind, but on aggregate, a 3-2 victory. And it's Rafael Camacho, who's actually a real player, sorry pal, who's not been used too much. He's been floating in and out of the B teams, the main teams. He played 5 games for us this season, grabbed 1 goal, and it was the all-important one as well, to knock us past Spurs and get us into the quarterfinals. But we actually got a very lucky tie, and we faced up against Galatasaray, and in the first leg away in Turkey, we won the game 3-2. So when we got back to Portugal, there was no doubt in my mind we were going to take the game to them, as we won on aggregate 5-2 and head to the Champions League semi-finals, which is now we're starting to get into where we're getting a little bit nervous. Especially given the fact that our first game is against Liverpool at Anfield. Mateus Fernandes doesn't feel nerves, apparently. An absolute screamer from the edge of the box, but it is an old foe that comes back to haunt us. It's that man, Victor Gyökeres, in the box to make it 1-1. And when I was confident if we could shut him up, we could win against Liverpool and take us into the final of the Champions League. Well, thanks to a defensive mistake there, we do grab an early lead. But speaking of defensive mistakes, we're going to make one of our own. What are you doing? As Gio Reyna makes it 1-1. But luckily, just 7 minutes later, one of our absolute superstars, no, not Martin, but Rodrigo Carvalho, scores to make it 2-1. An absolute screamer. And we're going to the Champions League final. And in my opinion, there is no better man to pick the pockets of the Arsenal defence than Mateus Fernandes and score the one and only goal in a Champions League final than Mateus Fernandes, the sporting kid, the sporting hero, and at this point, the sporting legend, scores the only goal in a Champions League final victory. Mateus Fernandes, bow down, take your hat off. You're an absolute hero. The way this guy's progressed from the very start is absolutely ridiculous. If you guys are doing sport and saves, or if you're inspired by the FM World Cup, make sure you're using this guy. He is absolutely fantastic. A star-studded team, but this guy from the very start was our main central attacking midfielder. I will very quickly just touch as well on Martin Trinkeletias. From the start to this point, his attributes have grown a ridiculous amount. 8 in composure is the most I've ever seen. 7 in strength, showing he's now actually bulking up and becoming a striker. Now he's 21 years of age, or 22 years of age. You guys on Patreon are going to have so much fun using Martin Trinkeletias. And the final guy I want to touch on is Miguel Carvalho, the winger, the Figo regen. From the start, this guy's been unbelievable. His physicals have grown a stupid amount. +5 in dribbling, +5 in decision making. And remember, I believe he's a couple of years younger, and he's just made his Portuguese debut at 20 years of age. The final thing I want to check is, have Portugal won any trophies since we've been here? Because we've actually gone up to world number 4 in the world in terms of rankings. I want to just see if they won anything. Didn't win the World Cup. They got knocked out by South Korea. Did they win they didn't win that either. They lost to Spain. And in 2026, we didn't have any issues, but we move. Portugal will become European champions with the Figo and Ronaldo regen. Thank you so much for watching this one. And if you did get it to this point in the video, put just a little like champions emoji in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.